They're so, like, overrated. And they, like, have sex constantly. Her baby daddy, Tristan being messy as fuck. Hot body, you know, great plastic surgery. Okay, I'm done. It's so freaking hot.
Can pull me from the dark.
Hi everyone, so today I'm just going to talk about some random things that have been happening recently. The first thing that comes to mind is the Kardashians. Their new season started, I think, on the first night of the Vanderpump reunion, or maybe the last night. I think it was maybe part 3. So not a lot of people were talking about it, which I thought was kind of funny, and I'm sure they hated it. But I've seen the first few episodes, and the reason why I watch it is obviously I love their style. I like to see what they're wearing and, you know, their makeup and yada yada. I like that this series on Hulu is a little bit more like stylized. Like, it's obviously they are producing it, they are in charge of everything, so they break the fourth wall a lot. And so I just like it. I've watched the Kardashians for so long that I tune in, you know. This season so far, it's focusing on like the tension between Kourtney and Kim. Kourtney is pissed that Kim took a deal with Dolce & Gabbana like 4 months after her wedding, and it's very similar. Like her wedding was focused on like the 90s like Dolce & Gabbana looks, and that's what Kim is doing. She's a creative director for their show, and so she's just very upset with Kim, and I feel like there's always been this underlying like competition between the two of them, and she even references it as well. And I think that's just the straw that broke the camel's back, and so that seemed to be like the start of like a little rift between the two of them. And then Kim's talking a lot about Kanye and just how he keeps putting her and her family down, and it's just for the sake of her kids. She tries not to like speak bad about him or respond, but it just gets so tiring, and you know, I can relate to that because it is divorce and all of that. It just takes a toll on you, and you know, even if you're Kim Kardashian, you have to deal with that shit too. So they have Scott on there way more this season, and I like that. You know, I did miss Scott last season, so I'm glad they brought him back. He just has a je ne sais quoi. He brings like a good energy to their show, so I'm glad that he's participating a little bit more, and I'm sure he really likes that too. What I think is like silly is like in one of the episodes, Kendall takes Kylie out and teaches her how to drive stick, and it's so like we don't want to see that, you know. Like it was boring, it wasn't funny, it was just like, why? Like that, it was just pure filler. I'm like, you guys didn't have anything else. And what I have seen people say is that, like, you know, Kim's talking about her divorce, Kourtney and Travis, like, they just got married and they, you know, talk about their lives. Obviously I feel like she shares not as much as like maybe Kim and Khloe, because like Khloe obviously shows everything about her baby daddy, Tristan being messy as fuck, and her mental health, and you know, this season they discover skin cancer on her cheek, and so she's going through a lot of shit. So they give a lot. But Kendall and Kylie, their storyline is learning how to drive stick shift. It's like, what? Like, you guys are boring. Do you really not have anything going on in your life? Like, why don't you talk about Travis? Like, what are you and Travis on or off? Like, what's going on there? You know, Kendall's dating Bad Bunny. Why, you know, they need to give a little bit more because everyone else gives. So either participate in a good way or don't. Like, we don't need that. If that's what we're going to be getting, like, you guys don't need to be part of the show. The Jenner part of the Kardashian Jenner clan is they're so like overrated. I can do without. You know, it's almost like entitled, or it's like, really, like, you're not gonna give more? I don't know. I just didn't like that. But also, Kourtney recently went to one of Blink-182's concerts in LA, and she was in the crowd, and she like held up a sign and it said, "Travis, I'm pregnant," which was a like little throw to one of their old music videos. There's a girl in the crowd holding that same exact sign. And so, yeah, that was how they revealed to everyone that she's pregnant. She has like a pretty decent sized baby bump already, so she's pretty far along. I'm sure she wanted to wait until it was like for sure that she was like out of like the danger zone for her to be able to share with everyone. A lot of people like stupidly thought that was how she was telling Travis, but it's like, no, like she was so pregnant, and they like have sex constantly, so he's gonna know. Like, this is how they're announcing it to the world, which I thought was brilliant. So that was really cute. And what was funny was that Sheena and Brittany and like some of their friends were at that concert, and they like shared it on their stories, like when they put Courtney on the Jumbotron and everything. So I just like when worlds collide, you know, like I live in LA, all of these people live in LA, like it's funny to see like things intersecting and stuff. So that was cute, and I'm happy for them. I know from the show that she was like, they're doing IVF, and then they decided to stop doing that and just like give it a shot naturally. So no one really knows the details, but good for her that she was able to get pregnant and carry her own child. She's in her 40s, so that's major. So babies are a blessing. Babies are angels, and that's great that they, you know, have a little boy on the way. Madonna has been in the hospital. She was in the ICU. She was like very, very sick. She has some sort of bacterial infection. So it's kind of like, it was a little scary to hear, and people were like, oh my god, like please let's not lose Madonna. That would be crazy. But yeah, that she's out of the hospital, but she's, you know, still pretty sick. So like all these, you know, you hear stories of just like sudden unexpected illnesses. I mean, Jamie Foxx, you know, like he was in the hospital for a long time. I think he's still in the hospital, but then they're also saying that he's already back home, but he hasn't come out to like say, hey guys, like I'm home and I'm good. So like that's kind of weird. So yeah, just like interesting, like kind of like weird health things happening right now in Hollywood. Kim and Kyle from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills have seemingly made up. They were doing a live together the other night, and then they were in Colorado for Kim's daughter's wedding, so all of them were together, and it seemed like they were all having a good time. So I know Kathy did not film for this new season coming up, but Kim did. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad they have reconciled. Sisters are sisters. You're gonna fight, but as long as you always come back together, that's what really matters. Seeing them all together makes me excited for the new season of Buying Beverly Hills. I think they're filming right now because I saw Alexia and like some of the other girls posting pictures of them in Miami, that they were filming for the show there. So, and MJ from Shaw's is a real estate agent at their brokerage. So I wonder if she's going to be on Buying Beverly Hills. Like that would be cool. That would be a cool crossover. So I like that. Apparently there's going to be a Vanderpump spinoff with Jax, Brittany, and Kristen, which I'm kind of surprised about. Like not Jax and Brittany because they've kind of been hinting at things, but Kristen I am surprised about because she specifically says like, oh, I would not return. Like, so I mean, I guess if she meant like I would never return to Vanderpump Rules, that's one thing. I wonder what it is. Like what could it be? But that'll be fun, whatever they are planning on doing. I'm excited to see Jax and Brittany back. I like their podcast. I think they're doing a good job. I like their dynamic. A lot of people don't like Brittany for whatever reason. I think Brittany, she's a sweet Kentucky muffin. Like, how can you not like this girl? I think she's like very genuine and very just like normal and likable. People get annoyed with her accent, which I think is so rude. Like, I love her accent. So, and I just like them together. I think Jax has done a very good job about just, you know, becoming a family man, like he likes to call himself, and just straining his shit out and being a good dad and stepping it up. And I'm excited to see them back on TV. So that was cool to hear. Siggy Flicker did a like tell-all kind of interview on a podcast this week, and I listened to part one. Apparently it's 2 parts, but I was interested because I just wanted to hear what she had to say. Like while she was on TV, she was very annoying to me. I was not a big fan, but because I don't like Marge and I know she didn't like Marge, I just wanted to listen. And one of the things that she said that I found interesting was that, because if you guys remember, she brought Marge onto the show. Like, they were supposed to be friends, and she was the one who, like, brought her on. And then later on, they fight, and, you know, they're, like, mortal enemies. And what she said was actually that producers were the ones that introduced them, and just because she knew like about Margaret, or like they lived in the same area or whatever, like they're like, okay, so you're gonna bring her on as your friend and blah blah blah, but they weren't really like friends, they weren't really like close. So I thought that was like interesting to know, because it's like, oh, so that's why they were able to like get into such a big fight and like become such enemies, because they weren't really ever friends. And she just spoke about like the producers on that show, like they aren't doing a good job, and they're very much about favoritism, and Margaret is all of their friends and she has them over for dinner at her house and just all this stuff. So like they're giving Margaret like a better edit and just like kind of like the upper hand on things. And so, she was defending Teresa and talking about how Teresa's given everything to that show. Like she's, had her family, she's had her kids on the show, she went to jail, she got out, her parents have died, she's gotten divorced, gotten remarried. So like I am not I don't like Melissa. If I had to choose, I would choose Teresa. But I'm not saying that Teresa's perfect. Like, Teresa has her issues too. I just think that if we have to choose between the two, get rid of the Gorgas, because they're not genuine. And at least Teresa, she's entertaining. She has her daughters. They're beautiful daughters. Is Louis sketchy? Of course. Like, there's something off about that guy. But the Gorgas are just like, ugh. Like today or yesterday, Melissa was pumping gas, which in New Jersey, they don't pump their own gas. Like in California, you do. Over there, that's not a thing. I guess it's like illegal or something like that. And she was pumping gas and she was posing, conveniently for paparazzi. And I don't know, is there paparazzi? Like, you guys tell me, is there paparazzi hanging around in New Jersey like they are here in LA? Because apparently that's not very common either. But she had on this like one-piece bathing suit with a like fishnet see-through rainbow like dress, like so thirsty. Like if she was my mom, like, is she hot? Of course. Hot body, great plastic surgery that she has. But if that was my mom, like, she has teenage boys, like, I would just be so embarrassed. Like, her daughter, I would be so embarrassed. It's like, Mom, stop. Why are you, I don't know. She's very thirsty, and that is why I don't like her, because she's so like, look at me, oh, attention, But yeah, I think that's all I want to talk about today. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I would love it if you would check out my channel and click on some other videos and hang out just a little bit longer. That would be so helpful. Maybe subscribe, maybe give me a like. It goes a long way, and I really appreciate it. I hope to see you on my next video. Bye, guys.
Can pull me from the